Politics, commentary, entertainment, sports, news, and opinion now. Here is Steve Malzberg.
All right, folks, so welcome back. Joining us now is Newsmax's White House correspondent, John Gizzi. Hello, John.
Hello, Steve. A pleasure to be back. It's been a while.
It has been a while, and thank you for coming back. Always love talking to you. Okay, let's start off, shall we, talking about what the news of the day and the news of the past couple of weeks has pushed off of the pages, and that is what's going on in Chicago. 43 shootings over the weekend in Chicago, 4 fatally, including an 11-year-old girl who was struck in the head by a stray bullet while she was sleeping at a friend's house. At what point does Rahm Emanuel, the former chief advisor to Barack Obama, who now parades around as mayor of Chicago, at what point does he get responsibility for this stuff?
Very soon, like within a few hours, because it's been pointed out, most of the criticism has been aimed at Gary McCarthy, the police superintendent of Chicago. In the Windy City, the police superintendent is appointed by and reports directly to the mayor. Within a short time, the mayor will almost surely have to join Superintendent McCarthy on the podium and take some tough questions. Something similar happened to the elder mayor Richard Daley in 1963 after a wave of summer violence and criticism of the police force, and it nearly cost him re-election at the hands of a Republican. I'm not sure that's going to happen more than a half century later. I can tell you, all my political contacts in Chicago say Rambo is on the run in Chicago.
Well, when is his term up?
2015. They have the initial race in February and then a runoff in April. So 7 months away,
and
an embattled politician.
And we have, I should point out also, as you saw on the screen, July 4th weekend, 82 shootings in the city of Chicago. I mean, how on earth, I don't care, Republican, Democrat, black, white, how on earth do the people of Chicago re-elect a guy who has been at the helm during this war? Well,
let me just say that this is just the latest step in a long period in the downward trend of Rahm Emanuel. When he was elected mayor with ease in 2011, he was hailed as a leader of the Democratic Party, possibly a future president. Then you had a prolonged teacher strike that saw him at logger's heads with the president of the Chicago Teachers Union, Karen Lewis, someone who's considering a bid for mayor herself. What followed was the closings of some public schools, and then increasingly the alienation of the mayor from leaders of the minority community in Chicago. Now the shootings are coming. One could say that 7 months from now, unless there's a dramatic change, it'll be a case of the chickens coming home to roost for Rahm Emanuel.
Yeah, well, it'll be very interesting to see, and I've heard so many reasons as to why the problem exists, but I heard the police chief, this will be the last question on this topic, John, the police chief, CBS News report they had a reporter following cops around the city, and there was a shooting, and the guy they nabbed was a guy who was already put in jail once for shooting and was let go or had a very minor sentence because they don't have enough jail space. The police chief said this. So, I mean, if you're gonna let people who shoot people out of jail, then gun laws and whatever, it's all meaningless.
It certainly is. And again, remember, Superintendent McCarthy was appointed by Mayor Emanuel. The mayor can hire a police superintendent. He can fire a superintendent with no explanation needed. But he also gets the blame for his performance. It's under his watch.
All right, let me ask you, the president today speaking about the violence in Russia since, not since then, but eventually today we've had reports that the black boxes have been found and the bodies are being given over to the right people. But Obama spoke about the investigation, and Peter King said after the speech on this show that Obama's playing Putin's game by focusing on the investigation, because that's going to take a long time. It's going to put the issue off in the back burner, and we know who did it.
Well, let's say this. If this were in Hollywood, we'd say he may not be playing the part, but he's doing a great job of faking it. Look, I don't have to go through the circumstantial evidence. I've just come back from the White House where it was all rehashed under the aegis of Press Secretary Josh Earnest. Fact, at least one Russian colonel is now operating in Ukraine right now in the Donetsk region, and he is a veteran of the Chechenian War. Fact, we've intercepted so many recordings that show the separatists in Donetsk discussing the flight that they plan to shoot down and being grateful to have the Buk missiles, which can indeed reach up quite high. And a final fact, there are videotapes showing a truck bringing the missile launcher out of Donetsk and headed toward Russia. It's all very circumstantial and very powerful. Today, members of Congress are calling for tougher sanctions that focus on the assets of one Vladimir Putin himself.
And Peter King called for the banning of Aeroflot airlines in the United States and in European countries. Have you heard anybody else echo that or support that? And might that be an option, or this country in Europe doesn't have the stomach for that?
Congressman Adam Kinzinger, a member of the House Foreign Affairs Committee and himself an Air Force veteran of Iraq and Afghanistan, has been talking about tougher measures, and these are certainly included. He believes, and other lawmakers just returning believe, the sanctions that have been imposed are selective and don't really hurt Russia enough. Certainly something that bans Aeroflot from landing in different places will hurt, but it will especially hurt if the European Union weighs in on it. That's going to be a little more difficult than usual, but also there's a lot of discussion on it in Brussels and Strasbourg.
Interesting. Yeah, Peter King also wants the World Cup taken away from Russia for 2018, which would seem like kind of a common sense move, but that probably means it won't happen. John, great to talk to you, sir. We'll talk to you soon.
I'm looking forward. This is a wonderful reunion. I wish there were just happier things to talk about. Thank you, Steve.
Yeah, I know. Well, great to talk to you. I really love talking to you. And you don't need to wear the hat either next time either. You know, sometimes I say wear the hat. Stay without the hat. All right, we're coming back, folks, with more of the Steve Malzberg Show. Don't go away.